And good morning to you as we are here just before 1 o'clock in the morning, and we are tracking severe weather. I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy, joined with meteorologist Jacob Dickey, who's in the studio with us, and meteorologist Jack Gerfen, who is out in the storm tracker, who's going to be tracking the storms for us here tonight. So the whole team here, and we're ready to track this potential severe weather. We've already had several reports of what's kind of been going on to the north and west of us, especially up around south of the Peoria area. They've had numerous reports, 70, 80-mile-per-hour winds, several damage reports. We're talking about grain bins, trees. We're talking about a lot of damage up there, and that is just outside of our area. So you can kind of see here where storms are starting to fire, and we've got the newest warning that just came into our county warning area, and that's going to be the one here for portions of Logan and also McLean County for that same storm that have had the history of producing those 70, 80-mile-an-hour winds a little bit earlier. So we're kind of looking at the far western corner of McLean County there, and then here into Logan County. It's not quite to Lincoln yet, but it is there on the northwest side where we've got that. You can see on the box there, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and 1-inch size hail being the biggest threats that we have with that storm. So let's just kind of show you this wide view of things because there's not a whole lot here yet, but take a look also down here where this has just developed in the past. Watch this. I'm going to put a loop on this. Just in the past kind of 30 minutes, there was nothing there into portions of Douglas County, into Edgar County, and that has really blown up. And that's going to be kind of the nature here over the next few hours, are these storms that are going to just explode, go from nothing to the radar just being full of the storms out there that we've got. And I tell you, if we can, I want to go ahead and try to bring in meteorologist Jack Gerfen, who is in the storm tracker. Because, Jack, I see that you're seeing a little bit of rain out there. Let's get your position of where you're at and let us kind of know where you're headed.
Sure. So right now I am in the storm tracker, and right now I'm about 12 miles east of Clinton. So I'm on Highway 10, and I'm driving pretty slowly, because we got pretty much nothing out here, just darkness. That being said, though, within the past legit 60 seconds, we're now starting to get some big raindrops. So I'm not sure, Kevin, if a cell has kind of popped up near me, but what I can definitely tell you is as I'm driving west, I'm able to see much more in the way of lightning strikes from those big storms that we're going to be talking about here throughout the next, number of hours here as they come into the viewing area from the Peoria area. So about 12 miles or so east currently of Clinton on Highway 10, and right now got some heavy raindrops at times, nothing too impressive. The lightning off in the distance looks good. Had some occasional far out lightning strikes which are nearby me, but for the most part right now I'm just kind of getting into position currently, so not much to report currently, but this will definitely be a little bit more active here as I approach those storms, because like you've said, Kevin, they've had reports already of some very strong winds and very large hail at times. Luckily, the warnings that we have right now are more of the baseline, but that obviously is going to be likely changing here because the atmosphere is still very, very explosive. It really does have a lot of energy to work with, and so these storms are going to be able to go for a long time. We need the rain, so the rain will be good, but definitely looking at the possibility here for some flash flooding potential because of the heavy downpours and heavy rainfall rates that we can expect. So I'll keep updating you guys where I'm at, and we'll be doing this all night. Back to you guys.
All right, sounds good.
All night.
Yeah, there you go. Stay alert out there, and Jack, we will continue to check in with you as those storms get a little bit closer. Again, he's just kind of getting in position over there, and so soon, he'll probably be on some of those storms, and things are going to be a little bit more active for him. But what I can actually do is show you, this is the little cell. I mean, it's a tiny little thing that actually popped up where Jack is. So this is Highway 10 right here. So there's Clinton, as he mentioned. He's going to be actually close to where I was a little bit earlier today with my Kevin's Weather on the Road. So just a little tiny little cell there. But that, again, has developed, like you said, in the past, just a few minutes. I'm just going to, take this and I'll just kind of barely back it up. And you're going to be able to see that there was nothing there just a few minutes ago. So there it was. Okay, that was at 12:50. So 10 minutes ago, nothing. And then boom, there's that little guy there. So we're going to see more of that. And we've got all of these little cells here that are continuing to develop. Right now, a severe thunderstorm warning. They've actually got with this, okay, I believe they just upgraded this to 80 miles an hour.
That's
yeah,
correct.
80-mile-an-hour winds now with this warning. So 1-inch hail and 80-mile-an-hour winds. We've said this all along that winds were going to be the biggest issue with this. And that, once again, is coming true for us here tonight. And this storm, what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of a path on it for you. It is moving to the kind of east-southeast at about 30 miles an hour. So that is the movement on this. So what we can do is just kind of back this out a little bit here. We'll kind of draw right along the leading edge of this and bring the, let's let me do that over again, and bring this out and kind of show you, okay, so where's this going to go here in the next little bit. And so if this would kind of come down here towards the Lincoln area, you can see there's Atlanta, there's Lincoln at 133. If it stayed on that path, Clinton here in about the next hour or so. And Jacob?
Yeah, one thing to mention, Kevin, is the report just came in from Tremont, Tazewell County. That's down there towards Delavan on 155 south of Peoria. 77-mile-per-hour wind gust reported at the Emergency Operations Center there. And that's that leading edge of the storm pushing on through. You take Route 9 west from Gibson City all the way through McLean County, come into Mackinac, Deer Creek, Mackinac, coming to Tremont there. And there's likely to be some damage. These storms, Kevin, have already knocked out quite a bit of power here. We're over here getting some updates on digital, and then we'll talk more about this here. But I just wanted to let you know, again, why they updated that to 80 miles per hour is because of that 77-mile-per-hour wind gust measured, not estimated, measured in Tremont.
Yeah, and that's from a very reliable source, the EOC over there, Emergency Operations Center over there. So that storm right there is packing a punch. So I just kind of want to give you, this isn't perfect, but you can kind of see if this storm would stay on its path here. You know, you're talking about this, you know, that could eventually be coming into Macon County down the line, you know, maybe Piatt County there, you know, if it would stay on that general kind of track. So that's to give you a heads up. And so you're still talking an hour, you know, 2 hours, you know, because these are moving pretty slow. So think about it. If you're moving at 30 miles per hour, what I'll do is I'm going to clear this stuff off here, and then we're just going to basically kind of draw a line that's going to go from where that storm is located right now. And so it will take, so at 30 miles an hour, it'll take an hour to get to Clinton, like we said that earlier, and then even more as you go to the south and east. So 60 miles, okay, you're talking 2 hours before it's down towards the Bement area. Okay, so we're kind of in that prime time here over the next couple of hours where we could get that severe weather, but it may take a little time to get here because these storms are moving just a little bit slower. The other thing, these storms are exploding also down here now, once again into Clark County, Edgar County, and then pretty little storm over Oakland here. And then we're starting to get a little stuff towards Tuscola. None of that's severe right now, but we're going to watch this because this whole area primed, ready to go for severe weather to really kind of kick off here over the next couple of hours. With reports that continue to come in, what I want to do is show you some of the storm reports. So I'm going to go ahead and basically turn these on, and I'm going to switch the radar off just for a second so we can kind of see everything here. And I'll click on some of these, and you can see why there is a very high, you know, we're worried about, you know, the potential for damaging winds with this, because Canton, let's just read some of these as these pop up. Lots of trees down north side of Canton. Let's go back to Galesburg because they had some pretty strong wind gusts there. Let's see, they're around 58. We'll clear those off there. Let's click on a couple of other of these because we had, I believe there were some grain bins. There's trees down there. Let's click on another one here, and reports of several trees snapped, heavily damaged, barn, estimated wind speeds of 80 to 90 miles an hour. That was towards the St. Augustine area. Now, these are obviously not in our area. Okay, that's north and west of us, but that's where, look at the history of this. This goes all the way back into Iowa. Look at the storm reports all the way back into Iowa. So this cell that we're now watching, I'll switch the radar back on. Okay, it's had the history of that. And you can see some of those wind gust reports that are now coming in with all of these. Let's see, there's your 60-mile-an-hour gust there. More gusts, and I believe the newest one, like we said, was that 77-mile-per-hour gust that came in. So very strong winds on the leading edge, and there it is, 77 in Tremont. So that's the kind of stuff that we're dealing with, a lot of winds more than anything on this here. Okay, so listen, these are some serious ones. If you've not gone out, and I'll tell you this, I actually have I've had people ask us to do stories about this, and they bring up a good point. Almost every severe weather episode that we get, a lot of times we get pictures of what's the number one thing in wind events? Trampolines that have, those things fly, man. Those things go at 50-mile-an-hour winds. A lot of people don't, kind of get those really grounded and strapped down, and those things become, projectiles out there in these winds. And I'm telling you, trampolines, your patio umbrellas, your lawn chairs, bring them in, fold them down, do what you can, because if these winds come over you at these 80-mile-an-hour, 80-mile-an-hour level, I mean, it's going to definitely place some things in other locations that they weren't before. These are really strong winds here, and that's kind of been the biggest thing so far. We've not had a ton of hail reports. These have been a lot of high wind reports so far that we've had. Okay, so there it is on the Storm Tracker Doppler radar. We're just kind of waiting here. Let's kind of come back down, because now you're seeing further development on our line that goes back towards Tuscola. And we're just going to see, if these storms kind of connect with each other here all along this line. There's a little boundary that is out there right now, and that's kind of what we're monitoring here. Okay, so big time winds. We've had some power outages up there. We've had trees down. We've had those power lines that are down. So now it's just kind of a waiting game as these storms kind of slowly trickle into the area. What we wanted to do was come on here, because we've talked about this a lot here over the past day or two, and we wanted to just kind of keep you guys updated on what to expect. A lot of you, could be waking up here tonight and wondering, okay, well, how's this going to play out here? And we're going to be along with you for the ride as these storms begin to fire up and pose this very high wind damage threat. I'm gonna put a little bit of a loop on this so you can just kind of see. What I'll do is I'm gonna do a 2-hour loop. So you're going to see where there wasn't a whole lot there, and now all of a sudden, especially down here on our southern storms, kind of look at this line right here. I mean, there was hardly anything there, and then boom, those are beginning to fire. We're getting some other activity actually over here into Vermilion County as well. Starting to see a little bit of that. But right now, the only warned storm is our one here that is southeast of Peoria, coming into Logan County and McLean County here as we speak. And that's what has had that 80-mile-an-hour history when those storms were up there. So this whole area is primed for that, and I think that things are going to start to ramp up here within the next 30 to 45 minutes. There will be a big increase in, I think, storm coverage. You're going to see almost this whole radar just covered in the thunderstorms here. So we're getting some reports of trees on top of cars in the Pekin area. That, again, is going to be down here in south of the Peoria area. So when that storm came through in Pekin, you can see where that is located right there. They've got trees on top of cars. So that's what this line has been producing here. So trees on top of cars, power lines down. We've heard about grain bins getting destroyed. I mean, there were 80, 90-mile-an-hour winds when these were kind of coming through. So it was a really, really strong storm. And I tell you what, so Jack is out there. We'll go to him in just a little bit. We've got meteorologist Jacob Dickey here with us as well. And Jacob, you're watching that storm. We're we're at 1:10 a.m. here now, and these storms are going to be packing a punch.
You're right about that, Kevin. As we watch these storms here, this is the one storm we have so far. One thing, just for some housekeeping, Kevin, I'm having a little trouble with the Apple TV. Maybe you can look into that for me and see what happens there. Tried resetting it. Being so late at night here, we're blowing out the programming. Not a whole lot on tonight. So you'll hear some behind the scenes here. We're going to stay here all night long. And what will happen is folks will come and go. they'll hear thunder, they'll wake up, turn on their TV, and we'll be there for them. So we may repeat some things, we may do some housekeeping, a little more informal here, but we're going to talk about these storms now as it's starting particularly to approach some of our counties. Tazewell County is a Peoria television market. They get our sister station WMBD up there, and they've been watching things all night since this storm caused lots of damage from Canton up to parts of Knox County and Fulton County. Now moving to the south and east here with those winds of 80 miles per hour, reported 77 miles per hour in Tremont. That's on 155 and Route 9, just south there of Morton, a few miles. One of the bedroom communities for the Peoria area, and even in Morton here. The leading edge of this, it looks like on radar, is hiding right here from Delavan up to the north and east towards Deer Creek, Mackinac, a little bit more east of there. Moving to the south and east, and as it does so, let's talk more downstream about this. A couple of things to mention. Tonight is a night where you will be a part of the warning process with us here. You can send a text to any friends you may know. If you hear a town, we say a town that you've got a friend in, it's late at night. These storms have had a history of some pretty substantial damage here. Send them a text, just say, hey, WCIA is on. They mentioned your town. We want to make sure you're aware here. And some folks will wake up and get the alert from this here. And the other thing to note also is while we have the weather radio back online in Champaign County, that is good. The one in McLean County unfortunately went down, I think it was about a week and a half ago or so. They had a lightning strike damage the equipment on the tower. That will not take nearly as long as the replacement for the Champaign Tower. They got to do some work there and get some nice weather. And this may be the week they're able to get up there once we get these storms out past Monday. So you can help us by letting folks know that you know, say, hey, watch WCIA. We're on our digital platforms right now. We're streaming on Facebook. We're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on the weather app. You download all that and you'll stay connected here. And primarily we'll talk about this storm right here with the history. So as the storm moves to the south and east through Tazewell County, now in southeastern Tazewell County, here's Delavan, and as it moves in towards the areas along I-55, Lincoln, Atlanta, McLean, Shirley, Bloomington, Normal, those areas are next in line as far as the next major thoroughfare for this storm to approach. There is no warning yet for any of those communities, but this storm will be moving in that general direction, and there's nothing to indicate that this storm won't still at least cause some problems for those areas. You keep marching down past that, 136 off to the east. McLean sits right here. There's Hayworth. We've got Leroy here, Wap here, Clinton. You go to the west there from Lincoln. You've got, you go west from Clinton towards Lincoln on the highway there, a number of small little towns out that way. This storm really heading for northeastern Logan, southwestern McLean, and a lot of DeWitt counties here over the next couple of hours as it moves on through. Not all that fast, but still fast enough, and the winds inside of it are even faster here. We've got wind reports, measured, not just estimated, measured at the surface of 75 to 80 mile per hour winds, and that's what we thought would happen with this particular storm. Let's talk about the alerts area-wide here. Your weather app has been continually broadcasting information. Right here in the bottom of your screen, the scroll bar going has been keeping those alerts going through the severe thunderstorm warning for Logan County and McLean County until 1:30. The severe thunderstorm watch, all of these counties in pink, goes until 4 a.m. There's some counties in West Illinois that go till 5 a.m. And you'll notice right here in the edge of the screen, you get to the corner where Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois all meet there on the hump of the Mississippi River north of Quincy. There's more warnings out there. So as this storm comes through, we probably aren't going to be done yet. This is not our only storm we have to worry about, and I'll show you more about future track here in a minute. But all of these counties in pink are our severe thunderstorm watch until 4 a.m., and some of these areas may be extended. That is entirely on the table here. It's 1:14 right now, so we've got at least 3 or so hours for that. But there's a lot of real estate ahead of that warning as it moves on through. On its general path, if I had to estimate downstream here, Logan, DeWitt, McLean, Macon, Piatt, maybe Champaign County, Moultrie, Douglas, Coles, kind of in that general direction here. We thought maybe Livingston, Ford, and Iroquois County would get placed under the warning, the severe thunderstorm watch. That didn't happen, and that may not happen. Looking at some of the data, the most unstable air really hasn't been holding on in these areas. The air's been worked over by some earlier storms. And so in Livingston, Ford, Iroquois County, there's a decent chance we may end up okay for the next few hours. That doesn't mean all the way through here. We're not ruling it out, but at least for our friends in Watsika, Piper City, Pontiac, maybe even in towards Gibson City, Paxton, maybe that far south here. You know, southern Ford County is darn close to Champaign and McLean County here, but some of those northern ones along US 24 up to the north towards Highway 47 north of Gibson City. Some of those areas may end up okay here. Still rain and some storms tonight, but at least that severe threat looks like it may just stay to the south. We'll watch it, and we're going to be watching this all night here across the region. We haven't really mentioned much about it. There is a flash flood watch for some of our Indiana counties, Fountain, Vermilion, Park County, and that's along the Interstate 74 and Interstate 70 corridors through central Indiana. These green boxes you see right here are flood warnings. In fact, we do have a flash flood warning for Clark County. That's not going to include Casey, but it will include areas in northern and eastern Clark County. Marshall, Martinsville, those places are under that flash flood warning, and that's going to continue for a couple of more hours here across that area. They've had a lot of rain, a lot of heavy rain, even some hail reported down there. It seems like they've been getting storms continuing to train in those same areas there. We may get a couple more flash flood warnings. There's been another one here, including Galesburg out in Knox County from that earlier storm. And flooding may end up being another concern here for parts of the region. So there's a look at the big picture as far as alerts go here in the area. I did turn the Springfield camera looking to the north. I wanted to see maybe if we could see a little lightning. And these storms have been prolific lightning producers. A lot of times here, either it's being a little shy or I turned the camera in the wrong direction. We've been watching our Neal Street camera and seeing the lightning from those Clark County storms for a while. These storms have been going from no lightning reported to in 15 minutes averaging 300 or 400 strikes every 15 minutes. In fact, higher than that. Before we jumped on here, Kevin and I were looking at this particular storm that's coming out of the Peoria-Tazewell County area. Fulton County area. It was up to 800 some strikes in 15 minutes. These storms will be loud regardless, and that's another reason why tonight we'll be online. We'll be on our TV and just covering things because folks will wake up. These storms are going to be loud and almost frightening with the constant barrage of lightning. So we're going to watch it. I must have turned this in the wrong direction. I keep seeing lightning off in the other cameras there. But just know, there is lightning, and we'll show you the lightning on radar here in a little bit. Let's talk more about the impacts of these storms that we expect through the rest of the night. One thing to mention, the Storm Prediction Center, they issue their outlooks. They update it for the next day at 1 a.m. So those maps we've shown you, I don't have those anymore. The data cleared out, and it's reset for the next day's event. But we're in the middle of the current event still. That's what these nighttime events can sometimes do, is kind of have a bit of a data hole, I guess you could say. So we got to look at the impacts more than I can show you a map. At this point on the map, that enhanced risk level 3, if you're watching us, you're in that. That includes you. The tornado threat is low. It's not zero, but it is low. We did maybe have a very strong signature for rotation with the storm way back up towards the London Mills area. Doesn't look like it has that now, but there's still some indications that this has definitely some high winds here. In fact, we've confirmed those wind reports of 75 to 80 miles an hour. Hail, still a factor, still a problem. We have had some small hail reported in central Illinois, bigger hail to the north and west here into the region, but we think there's still maybe a chance for some golf ball size hail in those storms as they initially form, but that may be waning. It really looks like the wind event's going to be for us here, and this is going to continue for a while. Kevin showed you those storm reports. Again, we've added some more to the area. Some earlier storms did bring some 50 to 60 mile an hour winds in Morgan and Sangamon County, even a little bit of hail there. But as we look off to the north and west, this is that track of that storm right along and south of 74, carrying into our area shortly here. So we will expect to add some in our area here in a little bit. Before I send it back to you, Kevin, I'm going to look at future track and show you what we expect. This is by 2 a.m. This storms may pick up in speed a little bit. We may be off by 30 minutes one way or another, but we're getting the idea of at least what direction they're heading. That leading edge is probably Decatur, Clinton, passing Lincoln and Bloomington here. In fact, the time now is about 1:20, so we may be a little ahead of the schedule here on this, but we get the idea it's starting to move to the south and east. The next hour then, here we go, through Vermilion, Champaign, Douglas counties, probably a little further south. I'd be watching even in Mattoon, Charleston, Sullivan, Decatur, Shelbyville, just to keep an eye on it. And it continues in that track here. By 4 or 5 o'clock, maybe we'll get these storms out of here. Notice there still are some other storms that try and form in the backside, and that's something we'll watch. But then we maybe get a little bit of quiet time here in central Illinois. But look what happens. By late morning into the early afternoon, storms are back. We really don't get much of a break from this here. This is at noon. The indication that some more of these pop-up severe storms may be on the table for us here in that latest outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. We'll take a look at that here coming up. But look at that, by 4 o'clock, still dealing with storms in the area. Kevin, it seems like it's going to be a bit of a long night and a long weekend for us here with the chance for these strong storms. With all of that instability that's in the air, that's really helping these storms take advantage and have some fairly explosive growth, I think is a fair way to say it here. And that's causing all this lightning and even giving us that severe threat. Of course, things now just getting started in central Illinois.
There is a lot of lightning here, and that's what I actually have pulled up on the Storm Tracker Doppler. I've switched the lightning on because now we're starting to see this whole line, starting to kind of come together a little bit more. Lightning strikes showing up south of Champaign now. Let's just kind of show you, again, look at this cell that is now over at Tuscola. If you're down in Tuscola and watching us, look at all those lightning strikes you've got. And just with that, and then that stretches all the way down. Look at that in Edgar County. Look at Brockton. I mean, tons of lightning strikes there with that. And then the storm that's been down there into Clark County here for much of this evening. So we're watching that. That's just developed. There's a break there where there's nothing in Piatt, DeWitt County. And then here's the storm that has been the one that has been the one to watch. With all of those reports, lots of lightning strikes there. So when we just kind of back it out, you can see all of these lightning strikes that are showing up here. And these storms are going to pack that possibility of 60 to 80 mile an hour winds as they move to the south and east. And look how, again, you didn't have anything. I'll just put in the last 30 minutes on that loop, and we'll look at this down here. I'll switch the lightning off, and then we'll just put a loop on that. And you can see how, there wasn't a whole lot there. And now those storms that are pushing into Edgar County, Paris, that's about to get pretty noisy for you. Danville, I mean, look at that as well. You had those storms there in Danville, whereas I take this back an hour ago on the loop, and there was nothing, and then boom. So what we can actually do is I can pull up our camera in Danville, because I guarantee you it is probably coming down pretty good. And, well, there it is. There is our camera there in the Danville area. You can see some of the raindrops. And, woo, wow, I just saw a nice little lightning strike from Jack's camera there. So we'll probably go to him here in just a second to get an update on where he's at. But we've seen some lightning strikes on our view here from Champaign. So this is our Champaign camera. So now we're looking south. So we're basically looking at that storm that's down there near Tuscola. And I got a feeling we might see a few lightning strikes that'll start to pop. You can see a couple there. And that's what we're looking at with that. And we're going to see if those storms can become strong enough to become severe. And we're kind of teetering on the edge of that with our storms that are down there into Edgar and Clark County and then stretching into Douglas County. But right now, the strongest storm continues to be the one up here near coming into the western portions of McLean County right now. And I know that meteorologist Jack Gerfen, who is out there on the road with us tonight. And Jack, looks like you're hitting some rural pavement out there for us. And look at the lightning strikes. It's lightning there. I can see it outlining some of the clouds every once in a while there. Tell us your location and kind of what you're seeing.
Yeah, so right now, Kevin, I was on Highway 10 heading towards Lincoln. But the problem is I think that listening to what you were saying, how Lincoln would be kind of on the southern edge of that storm. So I've actually taken a right and I'm heading north towards Atlanta right now. So I'm heading north towards Atlanta, Illinois to try to see if I can get a little bit of a better kind of approach to the storm. On my camera, I've got multiple lightning strikes visible here. I've got some lowering that's seen with some of our clouds in the distance, just showing how there's a lot of instability in the atmosphere. But that one little rain shower that I had earlier on was it. It's been pretty dry going here and there. But yeah, right now I'm heading north on not sure what road I'm on. I just saw that it was heading towards Atlanta and that it was 8 miles away. So I'm heading that direction right now. Cell service probably a little spotty here. Hopefully you can still see me back there in the studio. But the lightning has definitely picked up quite a bit as I'm approaching the storm. But just want to make sure I was in a better position for it here. That's why I'm kind of taking a little bit of a detour. So taking a little bit of a shortcut north towards Atlanta. And as of right now, just seeing just a ton of lightning out there. But as I get closer, I'll chime in and I'll have more updates here in a little bit. Back to you guys.
That is perfect, Jack. You're doing exactly what you should there, because you're right. That storm is kind of turned a little bit, so I can kind of show you where Jack is located here. So there's Atlanta, as you can see, and so he's just south of that. So he's heading up there towards Atlanta. Now, what he is shooting for is basically, here's our storm that's right here. So he's getting a little bit closer to it as he is. So there's Atlanta, that's right there, northeastern Logan County there, and will come at that storm. And he was talking about how there's, just a ton of lightning strikes with this. And he's right. When we switch on that lightning once again, you're going to see, well, you want to be able to see the storm here in a second, because it is covered up by all of the lightning strikes with that. So, okay, so we've got this new warning here that they've issued. Again, here's what's interesting. Let me show you kind of what this storm did. I'm just going to back it up a little bit here. So we're going to back it up to when this was over around the Canton area. And so this thing was kind of moving a little bit more like this. Thus, the warnings that they had here for portions of Logan County. And now watch as we put this in motion. So you would think that this would go in that same general direction, but it took a little bit of a left turn. Okay, you see that? Look how it was kind of going, diving south and east. And now it's taken that left turn. Thus, the new warning that they've had to issue here for the rest of McLean County. So that includes the Hayworth area, and gets right on that DeWitt County line and just north of Clinton. So they're on 51. So 51 that comes out of Bloomington there. So now they've warned it here. So that what that does is that makes it interesting then for, let's say, down the line, northern Piatt County, Champaign County. So we have to watch the direction that these start to take, because they can kind of shift a little bit in this atmosphere. And they're going to orient themselves, I think, a little bit more like that. A lot of the models this whole time have kind of depicted that, something was going to orient itself kind of like that, okay, across the area. And not so much, well, kind of northwest to southeast. So they were trying to kind of form kind of along this line like this, but I think you're going to get more of that kind of west to east, and then that whole line will push south eventually. And I think that's starting to happen a little bit with these storms turning in just a little bit more to the left, and I think we're going to continue to see more of that. And then that's what will put, say, Champaign County into play with this, and Vermilion County with a few more of those storms. The interesting thing will be, are these storms going to be able to sustain themselves? And I think that that they are. I know it's 1:30 in the morning. A lot of times these storms can, lose their punch, but we've had so much energy out there, and there's still quite a bit of it in the atmosphere for this late at night. Enough to tap into to produce those very strong winds and the potential for some of that hail as well. So that's the latest on that warning that's located there. Severe thunderstorm warning for McLean County. Now they have taken down the wind parameter that was once at 80 miles an hour. Now it's a 60 mile an hour wind. Now you're saying, okay, well, that's not so bad. Well, it's still a severe thunderstorm warning, and 60 mile an hour winds can still do some pretty good damage. So I got to be careful with that. Let's see here. We do have a camera that is actually in the Bloomington area, and let's see if I can't pull that up and see what that's looking like. So you can see there. Oh, look at the lightning strikes there. That almost constant. You're going to get almost that constant lightning there as that storm comes in. So this is actually, I believe, down around. I believe this camera's actually, wow, look at that. Oh my goodness. How about that, what we call CG, cloud to ground lightning strike there in the Bloomington normal area. And I would not be surprised if we start getting power outages, not just from the wind, but from these lightning strikes. There are so many lightning strikes out there that, they're going to hit trees, and those tree limbs may be close to power lines, or they're going to hit those power lines. They're going to hit those poles. They're going to, I think you're going to have some power outages really become an issue here before too long. Again, there's another what we call a cloud to ground lightning strike there on our camera. So again, lots of lightning with these. You're going to get the really heavy rainfall, and then that potential for those gusty winds that will show up for us there as well. So again, we are here 1:30 in the morning, or on the dot, 1:30. We are tracking severe weather across central Illinois. Thanks for joining us here on this very early Saturday morning. We know many of you possibly waking up wondering what's going on. You're hearing the thunder, the rain's coming down. You want to know what's happening? So we wanted to be here for you and let you know, not just kind of leave you in the dark here in the middle of what has been a very highly advertised storm event. We've talked about this for the past few days here, and now we're kind of just watching over the next few hours because now we're in kind of the prime time. The next 2 hours, 3 hours or so is when, if we can get some severe weather, if we can get some, these storms to really pack a punch, it's going to happen here between about now and say 4 o'clock in the morning or so. Okay, so that's why we're going to be here for you throughout the night. We got the team in here, and I got to tell you, we don't have to bring Jack's mic up, but feel free if you want to take his camera. I'm watching the lightning on his camera shot there, and it's just almost constant there. As you can see, it lighting up the sky. I will say this, we've had some questions about, hey, is there a tornado threat with this tonight? And it's not great. It's fairly, this is a wind damage threat. And boy, that lightning is quite impressive with this as well. And these storms, they've got the energy that they're going to be tapping into here. Jack's going to be out there for us to, find, if there is any damage, when he gets to the storms there, kind of let us know, what he's seeing, what those winds may be like. And so we're going to be checking in with him. And as he gets closer to those storms, as I said, he was up there getting closer to the Atlanta area and probably going to be heading up there into portions of McLean County there before too long. And so we'll be checking in with him. On a wider view of things, let's go over to meteorologist Jacob Dickey, who's going to take a look at kind of how all of this is developing here so far tonight.
Yeah, we're going to keep Jack shot up in the storm tracker here on the left side of your screen so you can see the lightning. We can watch what he's doing. And I'll talk a little bit about what's going on here. And just for control in the back, we'll kind of go back and forth. I'll let you know when I want to bring me full, and then we can bring Jack back because the lightning is just impressive with these storms. And they're impressive with all of these storms I hear. This is a regional view over the last 6 hours. As we watch the time up here, 7 o'clock, there wasn't a whole lot going on. We had a few little storms. We got to sunset, and what happened is that we really got the low-level jet to kick on in here. And when that happened, that's allowed these storms to really erupt here across the middle part of Illinois into South Iowa, North Missouri. You kind of look at where these storms are forming here. Des Moines sits right there. There's the Quad Cities. Down to the south, you've got Quincy, Hannibal, Missouri, Kirksville, Missouri. There's almost like a line, and it looks like they're moving in this general direction. Even if maybe we don't get, everyone with these rain and storms. This is going to set up for perhaps some heavier rains, and that could very well be right through the heart of our viewing area, right through central Illinois for some of us, and that's why we think the flooding threat may be a problem too. And all of those storms anyways are producing some big lightning here. We've seen some of those lightning strike on our cameras and even with Jack out there right now, so that's something we'll continue to watch. Again, we still have severe thunderstorm warning just for southwestern McLean, for far northern Logan County here. Let me rephrase that, severe thunderstorm warning, that's the yellow counties right here. And the pink counties there. Pick your name of your county. You get the severe thunderstorm watch for the area. That watch goes until 4 o'clock for a vast majority of our counties. A lot of instability in the atmosphere, and that's going to allow for these showers and storms to really blossom and cause some problems. And that's what we've already seen to the north and west. We're waiting and watching. We mentioned, be patient, it will happen, they will come, and they're starting to arrive now. And as this one here maybe takes a little more of a left turn, oftentimes what you see is if the storm makes a right turn, you can see rotation increasing, the storm strengthening. Sometimes the left turn tells us a little more the opposite. Maybe the storm's a weakening trend. That's good, we want that to happen. We still have to watch them very closely here. And that more left turn, I mentioned 15 minutes ago, maybe Ford County. Maybe we got to watch for Gibson City, Paxton. We got to watch for Champaign. That puts Monticello in play. Danville, Hoopeston, places like that. They're on that left turn. This storm will continue and still bring some strong winds and even some hail with that there. So we'll watch it and keep you updated on that. But notice at the edge of the screen there, you get to southeast Iowa, northeast Missouri. Some warnings popping up there. We'll have to watch all of these storms. Eventually, the thought is that these storms will merge together in a line and maybe give the chance for some more damaging winds here. Hence why we have that severe thunderstorm watch until 4 a.m. tonight. We'll be here for a while. I'm going to use radar on my phone here. We can bring it full and talk a little bit more about what we are expecting here. This is a little different of a view. This is a product called Radar Scope, and I like to use it to show some other things that are happening here. So we'll give a little love across the area and talk about what's going on here. You see here, this is Iroquois County right here. There's Interstate 57. Route 9 runs right here. You've got Route 1 that runs through Watsika up towards Kankakee. US 24 sits here, Gilman all the way over to West Indiana. There's some showers and a few storms in here, nothing severe, but definitely getting some rain, some thunder and lightning in Hoopeston, Cissna Park, Milford. As we drop south a little bit through Vermilion County, we've been watching some of these storms pop up here. Villa Grove likely getting maybe a little small hail, some heavy rain in the neighborhood, and plenty of lightning. These storms, if you see some color on the board, you can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be some prolific lightning with it, much like we're seeing out there. This batch of storms to the south and east in Oakland, Newman, Paris, Chrisman. This is Edgar County, eastern Douglas County. There's Coles County, not seeing anything there, but probably Charleston, Mattoon, Lake Mattoon, Paradise area. Looking off to the east, you're seeing a lot of lightning in there, and those storms continue to the south. There's that flash flood warning for Clark County, including Marshall. Does not include Casey. Does not include Moonshine. You can get a good burger down there. That's been because they've been seeing a lot of rain in storms in that area. We'll zoom out. Let's show a little love to Springfield and Decatur. We don't really need to focus on you much. The nights and the days like this when we have severe weather, we often spend a lot of time talking about who's getting it. So if we don't mention your town, that's a good thing. You don't want us to talk about your area here, but we'll just give it a little love, and that way folks, Mount Pulaski or Forsyth, Macon, Moweaqua, Assumption, Taterville, Shelbyville, Lovington, Arthur, Monticello, Whiteheath, Mansfield, places like that, Farmer City, Leroy, we're going to watch here. The interesting thing to note, though, why I like to use this is sometimes there's some details that can be hidden away, and certain products can help illustrate it a little bit better. This one, you really see this line right here. There's an outflow boundary that's kicking on out ahead of this. That's usually a sign there's some strong winds here. As this storm makes it more right turn through McLean County, there's still some stronger gusts of wind likely, 30, 40 mile an hour winds. That's crossed now from Hayworth, Wapella, Waynesville. Here's Clinton. You've got Beeson sitting right there towards the county line, Logan, DeWitt County line. Just north of Mount Pulaski, that'd be 121 up towards Lincoln. Through Williamsville, perhaps Elkhart just got some of those winds to pick on up here into Menard County and Cass County. That's not severe winds, but still it'll be a cooler gust of wind that comes on in. And sometimes there can be a shelf cloud associated with these outflow boundaries as they kick out. A lot of storms, there's mass up high and it pushes it out. When it hits the ground, it has to go out ahead of the storm. And that's what that is there. But this right here is an indication that that outflow boundary can sometimes help generate more storms. So in particular, I'm very interested to see what happens in Lincoln. Lincoln, you go to the east on Highway 10 towards Clinton. Beeson sits about here. This storm actually is right on top of the National Weather Service. That black circle there is the National Weather Service radar dome. If you've ever driven east from Lincoln heading towards Clinton, they've got a building out there. You'll see a white soccer ball sitting on a pedestal up high. Maybe they're big soccer fans in Lincoln, but that's not a soccer trophy or anything like that. That is the weather radar that scans the area for us. And that storm forming right on top of it there. So probably the National Weather Service, they're peeking out the window right now, watching to see if there's any hail and getting a first view themselves. This storm, though, would likely continue to the east and south. So Maroa, Forsyth, Warrensburg, Latham, Clinton, Beeson, even up here into DeWitt County. We're going to watch this and see what happens. And maybe this storm gives us a chance for some more activity here. But even still, these storms, they pop quick here. I'll put a loop on real quick. And you can see just in the last few minutes, as that boundary, you can almost make it out. That faint blue line there has kicked on through. This storm started to erupt. It looks like, based on the loop, it's taking more of an eastward turn. So that would take it more towards Clinton, Wapella, Waynesville, Hayworth, downstream DeWitt, and here's DeLand, Cisco, Farmer City, kind of in this general direction. And that may give us the chance for some rain and storms here in Champaign-Urbana, where the TV station's located. So we're watching, keeping an eye. Of course, as I glance off to the north and west here, you see all these icons? That's just information that's being told, whether it's a storm report or whatnot. So we don't need to worry about what they necessarily say. We're more looking at the rain here. Look at all that rain coming our way. We're going to have some rain and thunder through much of the night in areas that do get storms. Not everywhere is going to get one, though. That's something that we do want to mention. Kevin, before I send it back to you, I do want to talk about the severe threat advancing forward. I've got the risks now for tonight and early in the morning hours here, and then for what's through the rest of Saturday and for the rest of Sunday. Our impacts here still have that level 3 risk. Of course, that's primarily for the wind. 75 mile an hour gust and not higher. We've verified that. Tazewell County has had a 75 mile an hour wind gust. Hail up to golf balls. We've had some of that in western Illinois. We do not have to worry about that quite a bit here. 20 threat remains low. It's conditional. We get a little storm that maybe forms in the outflow boundary and can take advantage of some things, and I'm not overly concerned about that here. It's really that wind threat that is highest, and of course flooding. I can't discount that with the chance for some heavier rain in spots. Some folks really do need the rain. Some folks don't want it, though. You've got Father's Day weekend, folks want to get out. We'll just have to see how it shakes and who gets the heavy rain and who doesn't. This here is the risk that is going to be for late this morning into the afternoon and evening hours. So from about 10 a.m. on, let's say, maybe even a little earlier than that. Think late morning and afternoon. We've got a level 2 risk for the rest of the day today after we get this batch of storms out of here by, say, 6, 7 a.m. That primarily seems to be along and south of Interstate 72, but to the north of there, that green area is a level 1 risk. This risk is driven primarily by a standard wind and hail event here. But as far as the tornado risk, this again, from about 10 a.m. through the afternoon and evening, a 2 out of 10. Much like today, it's low, it's conditional, we just can't rule it out. The wind threat, though, you see that area in yellow. Here we are on the scale. We're still fairly low, but that's what the slight risk is for here, that level 2 risk, and same for the hail here. I don't see anything that suggests we're going to have maybe as strong of winds. The late morning, afternoon rounds, probably more of hop-up storms in nature, but we're going to watch it. We'll watch all of the storms for you. Then we switch to Sunday, another risk for severe weather. This is another level 2 risk, but we flip the script here. We just invert it. To the north now has a better chance, and I'm interested more in Sunday than I am Saturday for the severe potential in the area, particularly to the north. First off, the tornado scale for Sunday is now a 4 north of Route 9. That runs from Bloomington to Gibson City, Paxton, Hoopeston. Really, it's Iroquois Ford, Livingston, northern McLean County. That's where the latest update has it. It's a 2 to the south. Interstate 70 corridor is a 1. This is a 1 to 10 scale here. We're going to advise you, not only for this particular map, but for all the maps, you want to monitor for those updates. As we get some storms out, we'll learn how the atmosphere has responded and taken advantage of things and what it looks like. And that'll help us assess things. But we at least recognize, given all the instability, some of these ingredients coming together, we'll likely deal with severe weather on and off all the way through Sunday.
Winds with our storms here, and you've got that potential for some hail to occur as well. We've not seen a ton of hail reports, but there have been at least a few that have come in, but it's more about these wind damage reports. Now, I tell you, the other thing is there's a ton of rain that's falling down here into Edgar County. I mean, Oakland to Redmond, and over to Paris. I mean, just a lot of precipitation there that is coming down. I'm sure that those sump pumps in your basement are going to start going nonstop here through tonight and into the tomorrow morning as well. So we're watching that. None of that is severe right now. The only warned cell is the one that is here in McLean County, where I believe meteorologist Jack Gerfin is somewhere in that general area. Jack, what's your location? I see the lightning out the side window there. Where are you at?
So I'm on 136. I was briefly on 55 just for a little bit to get farther to the north from Atlanta, but then I took the next exit. So I'm heading back east now on 136, and just wanted to kind of see what would be the best route from here, since a little in the dark with me being behind the wheel. Kevin, what do you think is the best route? I'm trying to get ahead of it, south of it, if that makes sense, on 136. Should I continue on eastward here, or should I try to, at some point, make a jog to the north to get into this storm? Or should I go a little farther east before I try to do that?
You know what? If I were you, I'd probably just go maybe a little bit more to the east before you start to doing that there. You know, that thing's kind of lining out a little bit. I think that some of these storms are going to start to connect a little bit more here and
Sure.
kind of tap into some of that energy here. So, yeah, I'd stay a course there and just kind of, you know, see, because you're on 136, so you're just south of that storm then, right?
Correct. Yeah. It's to my left, and that's where all the lightning's coming from. But I was trying to get ahead of it to then let it go over me, but didn't want to get too far behind. Essentially, since you said that these are lining out, they're not moving very quick, but they're kind of lining out longer east-west orientation, and so just want to get a little ahead of it. That way, I'm not stuck behind it the entire night.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea there. We're kind of in this phase right now of kind of seeing how all of these things, all of these storms are going to come together, and you know, because they're just starting to kind of line up a little bit more from that west to east orientation.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured based on what I've been hearing. But now I'm just approaching into Hayworth right now, so I'll switch that over to the front. So I'll just continue on to the east along 136 here, and then what I'll likely do will be I will then at that point probably try to make my left turn to the north, or maybe even it catches up to me, moves a bit farther to the south. So but I will say though that I did step out briefly for a little bit just to kind of get a feel of the air. It's extremely humid. I stepped out when I was in the Atlanta area, and it's extremely humid. I had some winds that were gusting there, based on my location to the storm itself, that it was most likely an outflow wind. So the little storm tracker was doing kind of buffeting around a little bit in that wind, but for the most part though, nothing's been too out of the ordinary. Just a lot of lightning with it, but if anything, I would say that the number of lightning strikes seems to have gone down, at least from my vantage point. But that's pretty much it. So, yep, in the town of Hayworth right now. So I'll continue on eastward, and I will throw it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot, Jack. Appreciate that out there in the storm tracker for us here tonight. And you're just kind of, you know, this is kind of that crucial time here where we're kind of waiting to see. You can kind of see, you know, these little cells are trying to kind of develop here. We're getting a lot of activity here. You're even getting some stuff into Ford County, into Vermilion County here. So we're going to see how this all kind of lines up and potentially intensifies a little bit here over the next hour or so. We're still getting in reports here. We got some reports of some dime-sized hail over in the Bloomington area. Just got that in for us. We have not had any immediate damage reports in the last kind of half an hour or so. A lot of that was kind of south of the Peoria area and west of the Peoria area earlier. And those storms, I'll tell you this, I'm just going to back up the radar because there is a definite difference, okay? Just look at what that looked like earlier towards Galesburg, okay? Yeah, that was, you see reds, you see purples in there, and yes, there has been a weakening with that, but look at all the other storms that have formed, okay, after that. So there wasn't a whole lot. So that was at around 12:15 a.m. So when we started getting some of those damage reports, and now you've got a lot more coverage with storms that have fired across more of our counties out there. And more than anything, lots of lightning strikes here. What I'm going to do is I'll turn back on all the lightning strikes that we've had, and you can see, and this is a good way to kind of see, okay, where are storms developing? Even in areas where you don't have a whole lot yet, you can just kind of look at where we've got a few lightning strikes. For example, here into Ford County, in Gibson City actually, a couple of lightning strikes there. You don't see a whole lot of cells, but those lightning strikes are starting to show up there. Not so much here in Champaign, but you get down here now on the Champaign and the Douglas County line, the Broadlands area. You guys have got your lightning strikes there, and then just a ton. I mean, wow, are you guys down in Edgar County getting woke up here from Paris to Redmond, Brockton? I mean, and even close to the Oakland area there. I mean, those are just constant lightning strikes that we've got. I'd be curious. I know we've got a lot of people who are watching on some of our streaming platforms. They're watching on Facebook. They're watching some of our Twitter pages and maybe on the WCIA3 weather app. I know some of you are chatting on our social media pages. If you're watching us on TV here, you can go on to our Facebook page. We're streaming live on there. And if you want to chat in there, there are many other people who are also up with you as well. Maybe they're a little anxious about storms, and so you can talk to them, and we can chime in there as well. Jacob, you're looking at some of the comments there. Anything kind of stand out with anybody that's kind of chatting there and kind of wondering what's going on?
You know, I think the most interesting comments have been is there's a lot of lightning and there's a lot of thunder in places that are getting the storms here. That's been the big thing people have noticed so far. I haven't seen any reports of hail or anything of that sort. I was scrolling back through best I can, and Kevin, you may be able to see it on the chat bar on the PC computer of that live stream too. You may be able to see all of those as well. So maybe check that too. I'm looking at the news page one in particular. Some folks are saying, you know, they're wide awake, they're waiting for it. You know, they can't go 5 seconds without lightning. I think that's the story of the day. These are prolific lightning producers. That's very much what we're going to keep our eyes on and watch here across the region. Of course, Jack is out there in the SK Exterior Storm Tracker, keeping an eye on things with this one severe thunderstorm warning we've got in McLean County. I'd be very interested to watch what happens in Edgar County, just like you were mentioning there, as these storms are firing.
That's a lot of rain there, too.
Yeah, a lot of rain.
I mean, that's kind of training.
It's parking itself over there. Yeah, definitely. There's a boundary that's kind of there, and these storms seem to be forming on it and kind of meandering back and forth. So we may get a flash flood warning soon for Paris, maybe, the way things are looking, if that storm doesn't move. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, some heavy rain, probably some small hail, even in some of these storms that are not warned, Kevin.
Yeah, I bet you they're south of Paris, that purple color that you see. I would not be surprised if there are at least some pea-sized hail there between, say, Paris and the Oliver area. That's going to be right there as you head south out of Paris. You're going to find that little area, Highway 1, of course. Probably a little bit of hail there. So if you live between Paris and Oliver, you might have some small hail and some winds in there. Actually, as I look at, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch over to our velocity product on the radar here. And you're going to see some bright pinks show up. And that's going to be right there. And so these are going to be some stronger winds. So this is what we look at when you look at some of the winds here, when you try to say, okay, just how strong are these? Well, to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised maybe that there's not a warning on it, because some of the radar indications that are showing maybe there might be 60-mile-an-hour winds. Now that is pretty high aloft there, but I think that you can get some of that translating down to the surface. So we're looking for those pink colors, okay? And that will show us that. Or in the other direction, when you look back here to the west, it'd be the brighter greens and the blues, because it depends upon the direction of the wind from the radar. Red blowing away, green towards, and so we're getting some of that, you know, back here to the west. And so we're going to look for those brighter colors. That's what we look at when we show you this velocity, those bright colors, and we're getting some of that. So I think there's probably some winds there from Brockton down to Redmond and Paris along 150 there. So if you're out there in those areas, let us know what you're seeing in Edgar County. Let us know what you're seeing as that stretches back into portions of Douglas County there. Not a whole lot in Champaign right now. We're just getting a little cell, looks like just developed over Mahomet. Seeing a few showers there, nothing severe with that. And you can see on our weather camera there, as we look at that from Champaign, we're kind of pointed there to the south. And so that's our camera in Champaign. We'll do a little bit of a tour here on our cameras. You can see there's a look at our Neal Street camera. You know, not a whole lot here in Champaign here just yet, but the storms that we're watching are kind of all over the place. They've really begun to kind of show up. Let's go back to our camera here in Bloomington, and you can see, so there's what we'll pull up here is our Bloomington camera. You can see the heavy rainfall, the lightning there right over the Bloomington normal area. From Bloomington, we take you to Charleston. and our camera there. You know, kind of quiet, but you'll see what's amazing is you're going to see lightning strikes on a lot of these cameras because there are so many storms that are out there. Danville, let's switch to you, and you can see the wet pavements that are over there after you guys have had a little bit of some of those rain and storms. You know, things are still rocking pretty good over there in the Danville area right now. Let's take you to Decatur, where at the present moment, you don't really have a whole lot going on. You've got storms to the north of you, so we'll keep an eye there. You've got a storm that's actually coming into the Clinton area now, so north of you. From Decatur to Gibson City also at this present time, you've got a few little showers around in your area, but nothing severe, of course. Let's take you back down into Coles County. And Mattoon, oh, we just missed the lightning strike on the Gibson City camera. There's Mattoon right now. And we take you to Springfield, where we had storms earlier. And things are looking pretty calm over there as well. And then back to our cameras here in Champaign, as again, you'll see the lightning strikes popping up every now and again. And that severe weather threat that's going to continue over the next few hours. And Jacob, you got something?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention. Yeah, I kind of mentioned, we're going to watch Edgar County, heavy rain. They did just issue a flash flood warning.
Did they? Yeah. Well.
Edgar, Douglas, and Coles County. So we kind of know what we're talking about.
Yeah, right?
Down there,
yeah, exactly.
So that little quarter of rain there are suggestions that they've already had 2 to 3 inches of rain in this area. That flash flood warning is going to go until 6:30, and it will be east of Tuscola, south of, south and west of Paris, and north and east of Charleston. Doesn't include the city of Charleston or the city of Mattoon. Doesn't include Arcola or Tuscola. It does, though, include...
It's got Oakland in there.
Oakland, Paris, you know, right there. You can see on Max 2 where that area of heavy rain is. Basically where you see the rain falling. That's what they're covering that flash flood warning for. And it's always a good note to remember, you get heavy rain, once the storm's done, there still may be some flash flooding in areas. Those roads can be covered. That's why we like to preach, turn around, don't drown. You got flash flood warnings to stay out of the areas. Again, you can see it in the program feed, again, the polygon outline, Hinesboro, Oakland, Redmond, Paris, just south of Camargo, really where that axis of rain is set up here. And we may get a couple more of these, to be honest, the way things are looking, Kevin, with some more there. Of course, if you live in those areas, you got that alert first from the WCIA 3 weather app. It's also on the crawl on the bottom of our TV right now with that information. And we'll keep keeping those things, I think, busy for a while here. Those storms have just erupted.
I bet you in Redmond there, they've got 3 inches of rain. I mean, they just got absolutely pounded with heavy rain, and it's still coming down there.
Yeah, someone from, we have Jared from the area from Hinesboro and Oakland. He says he's still getting extremely heavy rain there. And so that's what that batch pushing on there, kind of stalling out, hanging around. Doesn't look like it's going to go much further here, but still seeing more of these pop-up showers and storms across the region.
Yep, so kind of, looking at a bunch of different areas. I mean, you've got some storms there along I-74 in Danville to Oakwood. Then you've got the very heavy rain showers and thunderstorms into Edgar County here. You get a little bit of a break in Champaign, but then you got this little shower that's up here in Mahomet, and then you get up here into McLean County and Bellflower. Not so much there into the Farmer City area, but where I was at earlier, here in the Clinton Lake area, you got a storm coming on top of you there, and from Wapella and along Highway 51. North of Maroa, you've got that. And then the cell that did have the warning on it, they're into McLean County. They've not carried that to the east at all. So there are, I believe, there are not going to be any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here in just a little bit as that storm pushes out of McLean County. Still, that is in effect until 2:15 a.m. And again, all of these storms still have that very high probability of still producing some of those gusty winds, 60 miles an hour or so, and can bring us maybe some hail there. It looks like Jack is just pulling over there along I-74. I'm not sure what exit he's on there.
Looks like 136, maybe?
Is that Jack? What exit you on there?
Yep. Yeah, I'm just on 136 right now. I'm at I-74. And I'm just pulling off here to see what would be the best route to go from here. Looks like I could actually continue on towards the Bellflower area, and then at that point, most likely get rolled with some pretty good storm action there. But like you've been saying, we're kind of just watching those storms kind of move out of the warning box there, and like looks like the heaviest storm activity, like you said, is more where those flash flood warnings are. Still got a lot of lightning where I'm at, but just kind of thinking that I'm going to stay on 136 here and probably take it towards the Bellflower Fisher area is what I think I will do.
Sounds good, Jack. Appreciate it. We just got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for Edgar County. So Edgar County now, we talked about this. We were looking at some of the velocity signatures that were showing, hey, there's some strong winds. And so now, not only do you guys have that flash flood warning, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning for winds of 60 miles an hour and maybe a little bit of hail in there as well. But what I can do is we'll go back to that velocity scan on this, and we're going to look at those colors. Remember we talked about those bright pinks right over Paris. If you're in Paris and you're watching us right now, be on the lookout. Those are really, really strong winds that are on top of you. You've got the really heavy rainfall. Some of the radar indications there are showing those 60-mile-an-hour winds right over the Paris area. Then it even kind of goes back towards the Brockton area there as well. Redmond, where you guys have just seen a ton of rainfall with this. So that's what we're looking at now. Severe thunderstorm warning. You can see the outline there with the orange box. Try to make it out in between all the other colors that are showing up there. But that is the new severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 2:45 a.m. And to try to put kind of a path of where this is going, it's kind of difficult to do because it's almost sitting there. It's not moving a whole lot. So that storm there is going to continue to bring strong winds, very heavy rainfall, and of course just a ton of lightning with that as well. So the wider view that we'll just show you here real quick, you can see that's kind of probably one of the strongest storms. You can see, you can just look for yourself. You don't have to be a meteorologist. You can see that there's brighter red colors here. Look at the reds there. And you're not getting as much with the storm we had earlier that came out of McLean County because it's weakened considerably there. But we're still going to watch all this activity here back to the west and then kind of see how any of these other storms develop here at this time. There's a lot of places you can watch our coverage at. Of course, we talked about how we've got many of you on our Facebook pages and Twitter and whatnot. But our weather app is a place you can watch our live streaming as well, and a lot of other features on there too, Jacob.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, a great thing to have is the WCIA 3 weather app. This is what it looks like if you've got your phone. In fact, you can tell right here, as I move my finger, I'm casting what it looks like on there. So this is what it looks like for you as well. First off, if there's an alert, maybe you don't know exactly where you live or what county you're in, you just moved to the area, that happens. People come and go from the area, job moves you or whatnot. This will geotag your location and tell you what alerts there are. You can set that up in the settings. If you don't know how to do that, right here, that little cog wheel, that's what you can press, and you can go through the settings and choose your current location. If you want to set it for your kid who's off at college down in Indiana or whatever, he's out in Iowa, you can set locations even for those places through that. But we've got here, mine's set for Champaign County. That's where our studio is. Severe thunderstorm watch there for the area, and so that's what we expect as far as it moves to the area. The thing to mention, if we can, real quick, I pressed a button and broke it. That's what I did. There's Jack. Let's show him real quick while I unbreak things. Seems like that happens late at night sometimes. So we're back and we've got it here. My apologies for that. So it's fixed. This right here, you can click on this and it shows you the radar. The live stream also is right there. If you're in your shelter tonight, you're probably in bed watching Facebook, but you can also watch those live streams for coverage, even some of our newscasts through that feature there. You scroll down, some great information can come from this. We've got the Weather Now article, we've got the video forecast, the different alerts as they update. They'll keep you updated on those there for the entire region. You can look at our cameras and whatnot. There's all kinds of different things that we've got there, even some severe weather information. Now, if you happen to have a photo, you're sitting at home, you can submit us a picture of damage. You had a tree come down tonight. Let us know in the morning. Send us a picture right through the app. Some great ways that you can stay connected here. I'm going to show the radar now and see if we can't look at it a little bit more. This is the radar app. In fact, it gives you these icons and it can tell you some information where some of these heavier storms are. You can even loop it here. Look at that. That's my location here in Champaign. Some heavier storms now in McLean County and even to the south and east in Edgar County. We're watching things looking like we're getting some storms popping up over Mahomet as well, based on what I'm seeing here, Kevin. So I really encourage you to download the app. If anything, we can send you notifications right away. These are some of the notifications that have already come. We were live. We let you know that on the app. You get a severe weather alert. It pops up there. Great ways to stay connected, Kevin, with the app in Central Illinois for the weather. But it also is cool, Kevin. You take a trip somewhere, it'll keep you updated. I just got back from vacation today, and this was updating me for things that were happening in Oklahoma with the currents and whatnot. And so that was something that was really good here. Just a really great interactive feature, especially at nighttime, Kevin. What do we always tell people? 2 ways to get weather alerts.
Well, that's exactly right. And it's nice to have those weather radios back up in the Champaign County area after being off for 15 months. And so that's also another great way to get that. Okay, so that warning that was in effect for McLean County earlier, no longer in effect. It's gone. The only warning we've got now is Edgar County. Edgar County right now. And boy, you've got some winds there. And now some of those winds stretching back, like I said, towards Brockton and the Redmond area, and even seeing probably a little bit of hail. So how can you tell there's hail in there? Well, we look for these brighter reflectivities. You see our little scale up here, you can see the colors. Boom, you get to this purple color. A lot of times that's hail, because what's happening is the radar beams reflecting off of those objects like hailstones. You get a lot of energy returned back to the radar once that beam hits that, and it says, "Hey, I just hit something big," and we've got and some moisture in there, and some you can kind of tell it's hit an object, and you get those higher returns. And so we've got a little bit of hail that's probably showing up there, maybe even towards the Brockton area there as well. That purple color that is showing that. So there's a lot of rain. There's maybe some small hail. There's a potential of 60-mile-an-hour winds. And I wouldn't be surprised if we hear before too long, maybe a tree down, or maybe something, a power line or something down, because these storms here are packing a pretty good punch with these strong winds.
Yeah, and you're talking about the hail there, hail potential there. We just got a viewer report on our Facebook page. People can let us know what's going on in Redmond. They said they can hear hail right now. So we're reaching out to see if maybe we can get a size in that. So definitely there's some hail coming down. We'll keep you updated if we get any reports in that.
Yeah, look at that. I just kind of backed it up, and that purple color was right over Redmond. You can see right there. So yeah, that matches up exactly with the radar. Probably letting up a little bit now, but maybe now Brockton, you've got some of that. But again, you're not seeing a lot in Mattoon or Charleston or Sullivan or even Tuscola. Pasodum, you haven't seen a whole lot yet. The showers that are coming into northern Champaign County, I'm just going to see if there's even any lightning strikes on that, because that's kind of a good indication of, okay, are our storms strengthening or are they weakening? What do we got here? And so you got a few lightning strikes that are going to be up there just west of Fisher. But the stuff that's right here coming into Champaign on the northern side of town, you don't see a whole lot of lightning strikes. You've got a ton, though. I mean, this is just insane how many lightning strikes are with our Edgar County storms down here. I mean, just look at all of those lightning bolts there. And what we can do is I can draw a little circle around it, and it'll tell us, how many lightning strikes are just in that general area there. And we'll throw out a guess here. I'll say 600. What do you think?
We've been playing this game a few times,
yeah,
and it's always been higher than we say. I kind of like that 600 number, but I'm going to go 700.
Okay, we're going to go with 591.
Kevin wins that one.
Hey, get that one. Lots of lightning there.
And so that again is last 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, last 15 minutes. You're talking about almost a lightning strike there every, second and a half or so. That's just a ton of lightning with that. And that, again, it's hard to see. You're like, what am I looking at here? So I'll shut off the lightning, and now you can kind of see the cities there. There's Paris, and there's Redmond, up to Chrisman. That is the lightning show there. So if you live in KZ, or actually if you live in Charleston, Mattoon, you look to your east, and you're going to see just an unbelievable light show out there with those storms. I will say this, the storms that we see up here from Peoria, they're looking a little weaker. There's not a whole lot there with what we're seeing right now. I will keep a little bit of an eye on this guy that's back here. It's trying to strengthen just a little bit. We've got to watch, these areas that have not really been impacted by any storms yet here today. And so you've not had really a whole lot, kind of down here yet. And we'll see as these storms kind of move here to the south and to the east, if they can tap into some of what is left of that instability and energy that these storms oftentimes like to feed off of. Because even here approaching 2:10 a.m., there is still some pretty good energy there kind of south of kind of a Decatur, from about Decatur to Charleston, southwest of that line there. Still some very decent energy on these storms that we can kind of get into. So kind of like down here and kind of below that line. So as this line interacts with those parameters there, they could tap into that and still produce some pretty strong storms. So I really don't think we're out of the woods with this here yet. And as these storms continue to come in, looks like they just got McLean. The airport there had a gust of 54 miles an hour. I'm guessing that was in Bloomington. So 54 miles an hour when that storm came through. So that's why they did not carry that warning further to the east. And that completely makes sense because the storms do look a little bit weaker there on radar right now. The strongest storm is our one that's still down here into Edgar County. From Paris over to Redmond, where again we've had some people talking about they've got some hail there if you're watching us on our Facebook pages. And you've also got an incredible amount of rainfall there as well. What I can do is I'm going to turn on, this may take me just a second to fire up, but let's see if I can't get what is known as our observed precipitation on this. And what we can do is kind of take a look, and there into Paris to Redmond, and let's just query this and see if it gives us an amount of rainfall. Oh, doesn't do that. Won't do that for me this time. Well, that area there, you can kind of see just by looking at the colors there, from Redmond down to Mays and Paris, and then other portions there of Edgar County. That's where you've really had the heavy rainfall. Then look at that down into Clark County as well, where there's also flash flood warnings there that stretch over into the Terre Haute area in Vigo County down there. But this is where you've had a lot of rainfall with our storms here at this time. And so you've got flash flood warnings. You've got, again, severe thunderstorm warnings for hail, for the potential of 60-mile-an-hour winds. All of that a threat with that area down here. And the thing is, these storms are eventually going to be pushing off into Indiana, and they'll be dealing with them. But we're going to watch this area, because here's the thing. These storms can turn on a dime. And so, like just our storm here that we're looking at in Champaign, north of Champaign, maybe up around the Thomasboro area, that's getting a little bit stronger, a little bit more intense in some of the reflectivity levels here on the radar. So, it just takes, we've seen how quickly these can explode, so it doesn't take long, and they can start to kind of get going again. A little stronger returns coming into southern Vermilion County now, Ridge Farm, Jamaica, Seidel area. So we're just going to kind of watch here and see how these continue to develop, and see if they strengthen a little bit more. But right now, you're just looking at Edgar County, one lone little severe thunderstorm warning because they've allowed the McLean County to go away. We've got floods. We've got a lot going on. But the good news is we've actually not got any threat really for tornadoes. We think the tornado threat is pretty low tonight.
Yeah, I'd say that's good. That threat can be low, and that's something I think a lot of folks focus all their time and effort on, and rightfully so. Tornadoes can be very dangerous. Sometimes, though, when it comes to these severe winds, and so far tonight things have been calmer, and that's good. There's just loud storms. We knew these storms were going to be loud. Sometimes those winds, though, if they're 60, 70, 80 mile an hour, like we've had further up to the north and west earlier tonight with these storms, that can cause some issues and bring lesser severe damage, but over a more widespread area. So we still want to take it seriously here with some of these strong winds and storms. And we'll stay up here all night, too, because storms are loud, and you turn it in. We're on TV, we're on the app, we're on digital platforms streaming things here. Severe thunderstorm watch, all those counties in pink go until 4 a.m. for all of our central Illinois counties. McLean County warning should disappear here. Maybe, I think it's in the next minute when that update comes on in here. But still, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in Edgar County. These green colors are flash flood warnings. Parts of Douglas, Coles, Edgar, and Clark County. If you live there, you've gotten the alert. You know it's raining hard. We've seen those comments on our social media here, and we'll keep it updated. As far as across the area, then, again, your attention is drawn to these storms down here that are forming. And we'll wait and see here. As these storms continue to push on through, there's the chance that they'll really mix in some of the instability across the region. And if it does so and pulses up, of course, we may get some more warnings, and we think that may happen. And even if we don't tonight, there's still the threat again for late this morning, this being Saturday now, late morning into the afternoon for another round of strong to severe storms potentially, and then again on Sunday. So we'll watch it, Tonight seems to have the higher threat, but we've got a high instability event here. What that means is storms can really explode pretty quickly and have some winds and hail with them in a relatively short amount of time here. Some of these storms have, in a matter of 30 minutes, gone from next to nothing, a little thunderstorm. That growth with all of the instability, once it taps on in there, can really take advantage of. And so we'll see. Probably what's happening is with these storms here from Peoria, it'll be towards Mason County, Fulton County, off towards Schuyler County, places like that. There's some rain-cooled air in there, and we've had storms already in that area, so maybe they're not able to efficiently take advantage of the instability, and that instability waning a bit. But there still is an untouched atmosphere out here in front. One thing we're fighting is the cap is in place, and that cap can sometimes act as a lid on these showers and storms. So we're going to watch it and keep an eye. There's a boundary in place somewhere in about here, and that's where this line of storms has been kind of bubbling backwards a little bit. We had about an hour ago or so, even, let's say about 11:30, 12:30 in the morning, Clark County had really been getting some strong showers and storms. Clark County now, it's to the north, and that boundary may wiggle around a little bit, and we may watch some more storms kind of build to the back here as all of these storms then can carry on to the east. Of course, Jack now heading to the east on 136, and we're watching his view live now. It looks like he's coming up to the 136.47 interchange west of Fisher based on where he is. I don't know if we have Jack, if we can check in with him a little bit. There he is. Jack's here, and now he's driving around.
Yeah,
am I right on the location? Do I recognize that from a distance?
Man, it's like you live here or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's exactly the exit. That's exactly the exit. They're the intersection that I'm at, 136 and 47. And so what I've been trying to do is approaching from essentially trying to catch up to the storms that I've already kind of moving to the southeast or so. Now, guys, these storms are still moving around like 35 miles an hour or so, or they kind of moved a little bit, or kind of picking up a bit more in terms of speed, do you know?
Seems like that they're carrying slowly to the east and with a little south motion. Generally, we think they may accelerate a little bit to the west. So we've just got to wait and see here. This is the kind of night, Jack, and you know it well, is with all of the instability, we could just have a storm blow up almost anywhere if you get the ingredients right. So we'll watch it, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We're kind of watching to see if they don't carry a little more faster here in some spots. But there's a lot more storms off to the west there, a lot of lightning. I'm kind of jealous, Jack, a little bit. I'll say that here. You got probably quite the light show out there, too.
Yeah, I do have the light show, but I will say, though, it's that it has seemed that my trajectory of going to Lincoln initially was good at first, but then those storms, they just ended up turning more to their left and ended up going pretty much straight east. And as a result of that, I kind of was then in a little bit of some trouble road network wise to kind of reorient myself and pivot back to get in a good spot. But based on what I've seen when I've stopped my car on the radar, that there are more storms that are kind of just off to my northwest, correct? I'm now approaching into Fisher right now. Jacob, would that be a correct assessment, that there's some more storms just off to my northwest?
Yeah, that's what we're thinking, and we'll keep an eye on it here with those storms that are trying to bubble and form. The biggest lightning, and you may be able to see it, is probably off to the south and east, past Champaign down towards Edgar County. But yeah, there's a lot of lightning around here. And what I'll do real quick is, while Jack, you're going through Fisher there, let's bring the radar back full. I'll kind of explain where we're seeing this lightning and what we're watching here, because there are some more showers and storms that are trying to pop up here. You're driving, you're listening to us and hearing what we have to say. First off, if we look here at the overall picture, no lightning on top of it, there's a batch of showers and storms that goes from about Bloomington through Tazewell County, straight to the west, all the way towards Canton, Illinois, and eventually off towards far southeast Iowa. Those storms moving to the east, a little bit of a southward motion, no warnings on them, some heavy rain, maybe some small hail and gusty winds. That may be the chance where, if some of those storms can get some instability, it may start to accelerate a little to the south and east like we thought could happen. We looked into McLean County, scattered light showers and storms. There's a bit of a cell there in the Fisher area between Fisher and Gibson City. Looks like it's carrying in that general eastward direction. And then we're continuing to see now east of I-57 from Champaign down towards, say, Tuscola, and especially Edgar and southern Vermilion County, a lot of that heavier rain and storms. That probably has my eye a little bit more. We put the lightning on top. Let's look and see where most of those lightning strikes are. The strength of a storm usually is correlated with how many lightning strikes there. Not always. We can have severe weather and not have a whole lot of lightning in the area. That has happened plenty of times here, and it will happen again. But on a night like tonight, when we have all of this instability out there, we very much are watching. And Kevin, maybe I'm seeing this right here. More of that lightning picking up west of Bloomington, and a new severe thunderstorm warning potentially that has came out. I felt my phone vibrate, and that is exactly what we have happening. So that's going to be a storm that's going to be over towards the Olympia School District, west of Bloomington, Normal, south of Carlock, to the north and west of McLean. That new severe thunderstorm warning looks like it will include Bloomington, Normal. It will include McLean. It will include Hayworth. It will be areas west of Leroy, on the Interstate 74 pathway there. It's going to include much of Bloomington Normal. Does not include Kappa, does not include Lexington, does not include Saybrook, Aerosmith, Colfax. It's the southwestern part of McLean County. That's a new warning. I think Kevin's going to talk more about that in a second. But still, also very much driven by this look right here, that big patch of white. And that's what we'll watch here. So, there's some lightning here. It looks like the Pontiac now getting some showers. And so maybe north of this, though, Livingston, Fort Iroquois County, northern part, lacking the ingredients to get more severe weather, but we can't rule it out at this point. Definitely a little bit of an uptick in that cell as it's coming out of Tazewell County, right down Route 9 from Deer Creek, Mackinac off to the east. And then, of course, with that Edgar County storm bringing lots of rain and lightning into the area. So we've got now 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and we're probably, Kevin, going to play this game back and forth, aren't we? Where you get a warning here, a storm pops up there. It's just, that seems like the type of night we have with these instability. We'll wait and see if we get some more organized storms here as well.
Yeah, that's the thing is, as we keep mentioning, these storms can really take off. Next thing you know, you got a warning for them. And so this is the newest warning here, as we just mentioned. That includes Bloomington, and you head south there on 51 and the Hayworth area, ironically, in an area that Jack was kind of once over there a little bit earlier. And now those storms are kind of teasing us again here and getting another warning that's in effect. But I just want to show you, okay, that these storms, okay, take a look at this. We're just going to take it back. That was at 12:45 a.m., so you're talking an hour and a half ago, a little over 90 minutes ago. You didn't have hardly anything, and then boom, look how much more we've got in terms of activity here. But what we're watching for are storms to, kind of get a little bit stronger, and we're seeing that here in a few spots. Okay, and we're now seeing these other little cells that are kind of popping up. Here's one that is going to be northeast of Clinton, east of Wapella, and then even the ones that are now here in Rantoul down to Royal and St. Joe, Ogden. You've got some lightning strikes there, but you can definitely see a distinct difference when you look at our warned storms, like the one down here into Edgar County, where things maybe just starting to let up a little bit there in Redmond. Thank goodness, because you guys have had so much rainfall there. But Paris still coming down pretty good. I bet you there are some big-time rainfall amounts. Some of you may have picked up a month's worth of rain in 90 minutes. We're talking 3 or 4 inches of rainfall that may have fell down there into portions of Edgar County where flash flood warnings are in effect. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to our other radar view that we've got. And so this is kind of what we're looking. This is the warned cell. Back it out just a little bit. We're kind of on a split view here. We've got your normal radar view on the left. And then on the right is going to be the winds that we've got here. Okay, so here's Bloomington, and you can see here, once again, some of these brighter colors here that we've got. Going to be just east of the Stanford area. Maybe a little bit of hail in there. And we're seeing here with some of the winds, you're getting some of the brighter greens that are in there, which can show some winds of 60 miles an hour. So what direction is all of that activity moving? Well, you put a little bit of a loop on it. And so we had that first round. You're going to see this first, what I'll do is we'll come back to the single view of this so you can kind of get a better idea. We'll zoom back in. You had that first little round to move through Bloomington, and now you're getting this second one here. And now this one's coming a little bit more here on the southeast side, so down towards McLean. And I think Hayworth, you'll get hit by this one a little bit more. You can see this first one actually kind of missed the Hayworth area earlier, kind of went just north of you. So the atmosphere is worked over a little bit more, as you get from Bloomington to the north. But on the southern end, you didn't get hit much down there in McLean and Hayworth. So now that storm is going to tap into those resources, so to speak, which is that energy and that instability that is still left out there tonight. Looks like another little cell getting ready to come over the Lincoln Doppler radar. You can kind of see right there again, that hole right there is where the radar is. And so you're seeing there's a guy there. Here's another one, southeast of Mason City. It's got some hail associated with that one. Here's the one south of Mount Pulaski now in the Latham area that has developed. Not a whole lot down here in Decatur yet, or Sullivan or Monticello. And now the storms that are over here from Rantoul to St. Joe Ogden to Oakwood, those are kind of pushing off there to the east as well. It's kind of a wide view here as we put that on display, and you can see all the different boxes that we've had from time to time when we've had warnings. And these green boxes that are down here are your flash flood warnings into Edgar County, into Clark County, where they've seen a lot of rainfall. The 2 severe thunderstorm warnings are down here into Edgar County, and the one here, as we've been talking about, into southwestern McLean County right now. So the question is okay, what are these storms going to do, as they get counted into DeWitt, into Piatt County here before too long, and then you guys start getting in on some of the action a little bit more closer to I-72 into Macon County, and see if these storms will tap into that energy as we've been talking about here, and possibly get a little bit stronger with those 60-mile-per-hour winds as a possibility. So they are continuing the warning there in effect for Edgar County until 2:45 a.m. and still got the 60-mile-an-hour winds tagged to that right there. But definitely that potential is going to exist here for at least the next hour or so for that wind damage threat. We've not heard a lot of reports of hail. We've not heard a lot of reports of immediate damage in our area just yet, so that's some good news. But we'll see what happens as these storms get a little bit more to the south. But as of right now, things are kind of on course for what we thought was going to happen here. We thought these storms would erupt and that the radar would go from nothing to a lot, and that has happened here tonight. We are seeing the intensity levels, kind of teetering right on that edge of being severe, and we're getting that out there. Wow, getting some good lightning strikes on some of our cameras out there. I was just seeing some on our Gibson City camera, and I'll just take a look back up here in Gibson City. And again, there's a few lightning strikes that are popping up. There's a little cell that is kind of just northwest of town there. And so, again, it doesn't take much. You get some heavy rainfall. You get the lightning that starts to kind of pop up there. And quickly that storm, maybe starts to get a little bit of wind associated with it. So that's that little guy right there that we're looking at. But you've got those all over the place now. We didn't have that 2 hours ago. Now these storms are all over the place with plenty of lightning associated with them, and that's what we've continued to see. So much of it are all of these lightning strikes here tonight, possibly keeping some of you up here, but the most lightning easily down here into Edgar County. I tell you, that just must be a wild show down there between Newman and Brockton and Paris, where you've had just so many of those lightning strikes here. And now we're starting to pick up a little bit more on those lightning strikes now into Vermilion and either in Champaign County. They're Royal to Gifford in the Flatville area. Looks like a few more lightning strikes. So we'll watch that, because as those lightning strikes become more numerous, that a lot of times is an indicator of a storm that may be strengthening a little bit here as well. All right, Jacob, you're back over there on the wall and going to do a little bit of a radar tour there. And you can see there have been some reports that have come into us of severe weather, but not a lot here after those storms that came through kind of south of the Peoria area. Yeah,
we were just reading some reports from the National Weather Service, parts of Tazewell County. They're saying they had enhanced wind damage from this. Crops are flattened there. They likely had 80-mile-an-hour winds, if not a little higher. There was a damage to a building in Morton. A roof was blown off. I think it was Garmin Road in Morton from storms earlier tonight. That storm has since kind of got messy and mixed on in here. And so far, we've just got 2 warnings right now. But that doesn't mean we're done yet. There's still a lot of real estate to get these storms on through here. And so we're going to look on our radar scope product on the phone. Again, it's an app you can download. We like to use it to look at things and kind of get some behind the scenes look at stuff. And you can see the slow progression of these storms here over the last couple of hours, really allowing for some of those areas to see some heavier rain in spots. And so that very much is what we will watch and what we'll continue to watch as we go into tonight across the region. We're going to deal with this, I think, for a while longer tonight, continuing to watch and seeing what happens with these things here. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and then we're going to jump on in. I like this here because we get a look at multiple products, and so we can look at radar in multiple ways to kind of help identify what's going on. The slow eastward motion, this is about over the last 30 minutes, I believe it is here, the last 15 minutes, I should say. Generally an eastward motion with this line here, but there is a slight southward component for those storms from Macomb through parts of Fulton County, now Lincoln, Bloomington, where that severe thunderstorm warning is. And then these storms here have just, I mean, they've parked the car and thrown the keys out the window, especially Edgar County where that flash flood warning is. Maybe a slow eastward progression with that as well, with that line seeming to carry up with some storms from Pontiac through Champaign eastward towards Terre Haute. So we'll watch it here. A feature to kind of look at, and again, we like to analyze things a bit closer. See this blue line right here. That blue line is that outflow boundary. And it seems like what's happened is as we've pushed this outflow boundary to the south and to the east now, there may very well be a shelf cloud on it. And if we can, just Kevin, I want to get the sky cams up, see if we can't look and see something coming over town here. Sometimes you can get that, maybe a little messy in our area, but even in Decatur, Springfield, you get a gust of cooler wind in here. In fact, at Springfield, technically it was Friday, yesterday, but today, if you're still with us and you haven't slept, they actually got to 99 today. That broke a record set back in 1913, record high temperature for the day in Springfield. This blue line is a sign of some rain, cool air coming on in. But what happens is usually that comes on in. Sometimes we can get some showers and storms to start forming behind it, and that's what we've seen in Clinton. Another cell now to the east of Mount Pulaski, heading towards Forsyth, Moreau right there, and some of the other showers. So we've been dry and quiet for much of Decatur, Taylorville, even Shelbyville, areas like Sullivan down towards Macoupin, Montgomery counties. That line may still mean we get the chance for some rain and storms, and we've got to get all this cleared through the area too. It's not just going to vanish into thin air. It's going to continue to slowly meander in the area and cause some problems for us here, so we'll watch and keep you updated. Let's jump on into that Bloomington cell here. We can really zoom on in. So we're in southwestern McLean County right now. Let me pause the radar and we can look at some things and get a different look at it. The more ways we can look at things, the better in central Illinois. First off, here's Bloomington Normal, sits right there. This is the Interstate 74-55 loop around town. That's Interstate 55 to the southwest, takes you to Lincoln and Springfield, eventually St. Louis. Right here's Bloomington. Here's Funks Grove. There's McLean. There's Atlanta. 136 sits right here. Here we are looking about right here sits Route 9, and that carries you over towards Stanford to the Olympia School District. Hayworth here, we go north-south, that's US 51. The heavier core of this storm sitting fairly close to Funks Grove as far as some of those little pink pixels are. That's an indication of some hail, probably crossing near Funks Grove on I-55 right now, but still there's going to be some wind wrapped up in here. And let me just throw on the velocity products to give us an idea. Now we're looking at greens going towards, reds going away from the radar. The radar down in Lincoln, that's to the south here. So we've got green going towards, so we've got some wind coming in this way. We've got some reds here kind of blowing away ahead of it. So there's some stronger winds from Funks Grove to south of Bloomington here and pushing on through. Probably some 50 to 60 mile an hour winds based on what we're seeing. And you can see here, it's been a lot of motion. You can almost see that southward surge kind of coming into McLean now as well. Funks Grove, McLean, eventually towards Hayworth. So some stronger winds likely there. But even here, you can tell those colors picking up through the Bloomington Normal area. There was, again, a wind gust reported out of Bloomington Normal. I think that, I can't remember the number, what that was, but in Pontiac, they just reported a 43 mile an hour gust. No warning up there. We'll show you Pontiac here in just a second. So that's the look here in McLean County for the warning. Further down the line, there's just a lot of rain to go around, a little too much rain to go around. Mason County sits here. There's Menard County, city of Springfield right there, Sherman, I-55, 155. The Illinois River is about right in here. And that's just a lot of rain and thunder here. A loud night for many folks, but no warnings there. If there is a new one, we'll let you know right away, first on the app and, of course, here on TV. I'm interested in this little batch right here, Macomb County. That's McDonough County. The city of Macomb, McDonough County. That should be, I say that. maybe this is one of those segments that can start to surge ahead a little bit and give us a little bit stronger winds there. So as I switch back to our velocity here to give us an idea of what those winds are, we're a bit farther from the radar here in Macomb, Bushnell, Prairie City, Rushville, parts of Schuyler County. But the indication there's still some strong winds aloft in that area. And so that's something that we'll watch and keep an eye on, is maybe that may be an opportunity for some stronger storms here. Let's jump a little more to the east, and now in Champaign-Urbana. There's that light blue line, the outflow boundary. Here's Interstate 57. There's 74. There's 72. We had a cell just pop up there near Cisco. Number of cells then looks like one right on the railroad track between Tolono and Philo, another south of Philo towards Villa Grove. That's probably, there's Pasota. That's going to be at the curves if you're familiar with that area. You take that sharp S curve around and the Pasota Road there. So you can head off to the east towards Allerton, Broadlands, Longview area. A lot of rain. St. Joe, Homer, Fairmount, Fithian, Vermilion County, and Royal, Gifford up here, Penfield. Gordyville sits there, northeastern Champaign County, western Vermilion County. A lot of rain, a lot of thunder and lightning. There is a little bit of a core that's picking up and has my attention. Here's Homer. You go south on Illinois 49, right there, towards the Allerton area. There it is. As soon as we look at it, that pinkish color goes away. But another one picking up there near Sidell. That might be to the south and east of town towards just barely towards maybe south of Indianola, heading in that general direction. But there's a lot of noisy storms with this, a lot of rain, thunder, lightning. No warning for that area, but sometimes we can see these things pulse up a little bit. Here we go on US 36, Newman, Hume, Chrisman. Here's Edgar County, the Edgar community. Paris sits there. That storm may be lifting a little more north and east finally, giving some folks in Redmond, where there has been hail reported, Oakland area, some hail reported, giving them a chance to breathe a little bit. And so we'll watch this and continue to see that. But that severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Edgar County does continue. There's a lot going on right now across the area. I want to see if we can talk to Jack, perhaps. He's in the storm tracker now, moving around, been following things through the night. Jack, it is a messy-looking night on radar. What's it like being out there in the field?
Well, Jacob, it's also just like that too. It's messy. So I'm on 136 still, and now I'm heading west. So I have done a 180, and so now I'm heading back towards the warning there. So just about 30 seconds ago, I passed by a sign for Bellflower. Here's my junction with Illinois 54. So I could turn right and go see Mama Dickie and get a sandwich, but I think she's asleep right now. So I'm going to keep on going straight on 136 going west now. After I was going east all that time, I've had a lot more in the way of lightning picking up on my on the camera and also for my view too. Also a lot of CG, so cloud to ground lightning strikes too. Some pretty big, powerful ones too. So these might be causing some issues where they are striking. But I've got a little bit of some rain currently. It's very light. There have been some pockets here and there where it's been relatively heavier. But basically, I have had poor luck in my planning about where to go with these storms, and that's just the problem. Sometimes you do a good job with them when you're trying to go after them, and other times you don't do a good job, and you're always chasing them, or you're in the wrong spots. And so that seems to be the case with tonight. Just haven't been in the right spots yet, but have that warning off to my west, so directly ahead of me. And I saw in the sign there that Hayworth is 22 miles away. So it'll take me a little bit of some time to get there, but we are looking at that storm to have a lot more lightning coming in out of it based on what I can see on through my windshield. And I know that you guys have been saying too that that one has been strengthening a little bit more, and that one has got some more stronger wind gusts with it, as well as some hail with it too. So just kind of listening to what you guys are saying. I will send it back to you guys in the studio since we're still just trying to approach that storm there. But yeah, 136 westbound now, basically just covering my tracks where I was just a little bit ago. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Jack. What we may need you to do is we need to get him to a town where you can stop and get some pizza at Casey's or something late night, or get a drink or whatever.
At this point, it's breakfast pizza.
Yeah, right. You just keep him going back and forth in 136 between Fisher and Hayworth, and there's really nothing there. And you got to sidetrack to Farmer City or head up the road on 150 to Leroy. So that's what we'll watch. I want to take a real quick tour in Skycam. And then Kevin, we'll talk more about those storms here, if you're good with that. We've been watching Gibson City, seeing some of that lightning pick off to the west. I will say there is now what we call a significant weather advisor for eastern Livingston, forward southern Iroquois County. That's a step below a severe thunderstorm warning. The National Weather Service just came out with that. You'll see some small hail, some frequent lightning, and perhaps some wind gusts of 40 to 50 mile an hour at times for much of the area. And we think they'll move into southern Ford County and continue to slide to the east. Some of these scattered strong storms, a high instability today will yield these. And so we're seeing some of that lightning pick up in Gibson City, looking off to the north and west. Off in the distance there, in the darkness, the golf course sits there. The GCMS Middle School is there. We're looking from the hospital off to the north and to the west. How about next we're in line, Bloomington? Let's go there real quick. We're likely seeing a lot of rain and wind in town, probably some lightning, fairly frequent. And that's pretty much what we're seeing right there. The heaviest storm is to the south, I would argue, between the Interstate 74 and Hayworth, down that way. We're seeing the lightning in that area. Let's go on to Charleston. We're just going to roll through these alphabetically here. Charleston, a bit quiet now. This camera looks more to the north. Storms are more northeast and really east of that area, but there's quite a bit there. Not as frequent of lightning visible from this vantage point, but we're getting reports on social media, seeing those Facebook comments come in that we are. Here's a look in Decatur. Been quiet so far in Decatur, not seeing a whole lot there right now. Been quiet, doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Seeing a little pop-up shower now in northwestern Macon County, probably has a little lightning, and that may continue to slowly strengthen. Danville, been kind of a noisy night for many folks in Vermilion County here. It looks like the heaviest rain has really kind of parked itself between St. Joseph and Oakwood. And it may eventually make its way into Danville. We've seen some rain, thunder, and lightning there as well. You can see some of the lightning off in the distance on our Danville camera here, on our Flooring America iNet weather camera network. Let's jump on over to Mattoon. We're just down the road from Charleston, of course, there. This camera looks to the west. We're not going to see much of anything on this camera at this point on our Mattoon Casey Summers camera. The lightning behind it, and that's the way it goes sometimes. Pontiac, there was a 43-mile-an-hour gust of wind reported earlier in Pontiac. Kind of cool. The storms seem to be more to the east and south now. Looking to the west at the courthouse, the flag on top, it appears as if it's blowing towards the camera, more of a west-east wind then. That's how these storms are moving. But the lightning, you're seeing the reflection of the lightning off of the courthouse there in downtown, and the lightning mainly to the left. That's left is south towards McLean County where that stronger storm is. Springfield, it's been pretty quiet there, but there looks to be some heavier rain and storms coming in towards the northern and eastern parts of the county. Again, you had some storms earlier this evening, about before sunset, 8 o'clock or so, that brought some 50-mile-an-hour winds to the area. And we'll wrap this little tour in our home city, WCIA in Champaign-Urbana. This is our stadium camera, the Adams Memorial camera looking off in the distance there. And I think, Kevin, we've got this looking to the south and east. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's right. And so we've got that camera there. And we'll do the last one here from the studio. This camera is looking off to the north a bit here. So been quite a bit of lightning. We've seen those folks on Facebook commenting on that. Lots of these rain and storms pushing on through. I don't want to jinx us, Kevin, but maybe, fingers crossed, we've just turned tonight into a messy night where storms can't tap into the instability and sustain themselves. They've tapped into the instability at times and given a few strong storms, but they don't sustain themselves. And that, fingers crossed, is what we can keep. Would you suggest that?
Yeah, we'll see what happens here over the next kind of 17 minutes or so, and until 3 a.m. Maybe kind of reassess things here in just a little bit and see if we get any more strengthening of things. We're going to keep you guys up to date on all of the storms that we've had here so far. But I just wanted to kind of take you back and show you what it was like 6 hours ago, because the radar looked very different, okay? You didn't have hardly anything. Then you had this intensification of some of these storms. And so here's what we're looking for. We're looking for more of those bright reds. And are we seeing that here? And I would argue and say that you're seeing a little bit less in the way of those brighter red colors as those storms come out of the Peoria area and then down into, well, eventually getting back into Logan and the Sangamon County areas. You're seeing a little bit less, okay, with these colors. I mean, we'll stop it there. But hey, every once in a while you get some of those reds kind of hidden in there, but they're a little bit more isolated. But there's that storm that is down there near the Hayworth area. Not much here from, Mahomet and down to Sedoras and Cerro Gordo, Monticello, and then you see things kind of pick up once again over here into Edgar County, which continues to just get a ton of rainfall. Southern Vermilion County there as well. Seidel, the Ridge Farm, Georgetown Ridge Farm area. We're seeing that heavier rainfall. But the one thing that we keep kind of talking about is how, well, okay, we've had storms, but this area has been untouched. No storms and unbelievably, there is still a lot of energy that's actually out there in that area. I mean, there's a lot of that instability that is still out there. So it's just very curious to see what happens as these storms tap into this area that's not seeing a whole lot in the way of rain today. They've really largely kind of missed it. So because of that, we think that there's potential that storms could still pack a pretty good punch there as they get down south of I-72. So south of I-72 has not seen a whole lot here yet. But yeah, definitely so far, things are looking a little bit better. As a matter of fact, I believe they went ahead and expired the Edgar County warning. So Edgar County, where we had the severe thunderstorm warning earlier, no longer in effect. So that's good news there. So the only one left still is up here into McLean County, a little sliver of that over the Hayworth area, where you guys have got that really heavy rainfall, and there's a little patch of maybe some stronger winds there. What I can do is switch over to our velocity mode on this, and you're going to see some of these reds, and there it is, actually south and east of Hayworth. You see that little brighter pink area there? That's where you're going to have maybe some 50-mile-an-hour winds. With that, that's actually out of the severe thunderstorm warned area, technically. So that's going to be west of Farmer City. So, hey, if you're over in Farmer City here, be on the lookout, because I think that storm is going to be heading towards you here in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. But a lot of storms there eventually are going to kind of ride right along I-74. From Farmer City, eventually down to Mansfield there into northern Piatt County, where you may have some of those stronger winds, and definitely you're going to start to get some of that heavier rainfall with this as well. I know that Jack is out there, and I want to bring his I just keep watching his camera there, because he gets some pretty good lightning strikes there. And Jack, looks like you're back in the rain.
Yep, back in the rain. So I've now crossed over Interstate 74, and so I'm still going west on 136. I'm probably about now, let's say, 10 miles away from Hayworth. The winds have picked up here. The rain has really increased dramatically. Got a lot of cloud to ground lightning, that CG lightning that I've been noticing. A lot more of it now as I'm approaching the warned portion of the storm. Definitely had to slow down now quite a bit with all the rain that's on the road. Don't want to hydroplane here, especially at 2:45 in the morning. So we're going nice and slow here, even if the camera looks otherwise. Got a little bit of some rain bands coming through with some of these little bits of some gusts. And with my boxy little storm tracker that we have here, it's kind of slab-sided. It does kind of a little bit of a fight against the steering wheel, but it's just a heavy rain as of right now, guys. I have not seen or felt any hail just yet. I've been through hailstorms in a car. I know what that's like, and I don't like that, and I've not had that here, but the rain definitely picking up. I've got so much Rain-X, though, on our windshield that I'm able to see very easily. So despite what it looks like on the camera, I've actually got very good visibility, and you can hear at times. I'm just going to be quiet here. But you can hear at times the rain kind of goes on and off a little bit, so you've got more of those little gusts occurring here and there, but just heavy rain right now with a lot of this lightning. Here we have the sign for Leroy, so 3 miles just to my north, and no hail as of yet still, like I said. Some winds coming in. This would be outflow winds, so winds coming out of the storm, and they're hitting me from the kind of in the front passenger corner, so coming from the northwest into my car. And again, this is on 136, just heading westbound towards the Hayworth area. I've got a little bit of some gusts now, more and more of it, but it's nothing too crazy out here, guys. And you had said that most of the heavy wind was actually technically just outside of the warning area, but definitely some good, healthy rainfall amounts here. We've been pretty dry in the region so far the past couple weeks, and so this is gonna be good. This will be some good rainfall, good for the crops here. But yeah, just got a lot of heavy rain and a little bit of some gusts here and there, but we're going slow and steady here. We're not going anything crazy on our storm tracker, keeping it safe. And I will toss it back to you guys and see if there's anywhere I can potentially park that would have some good visibility of maybe something else that we could see. Lightning, pretty bright though. Send it back to you guys in the studio.
I just saw that last lightning strike there, Jag. Looks like you're right on. And actually, you're right in the area where some of the strongest winds are, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're actually pretty close because you're kind of right over in this area, right about here that I've got pointed on the radar there. You're along 136, so there's Hayworth.
Okay.
So you're going westward there. And yeah, you're kind of right in that general area where the winds are surging just a little bit more, and we can kind of see that there's a little bit kind of brighter reds there, and just kind of probably just southeast of you, it's even stronger. But because you said that you had just passed over that 74, over I-74 there, so you're probably a little bit further down here in this area. So you kind of just went through these stronger winds, but definitely, yeah, you can see that heavy rainfall there, and just look at that.
Yeah, and I would say right now that the winds have definitely picked up now quite a bit from just about 30 seconds ago. So got my flashers on right now, going at about 25 miles an hour because the visibility is actually now pretty bad. But I've not been able to see anything noteworthy or anything like that structure-wise with the storm. But yeah, these strong winds are now definitely noticeable.
Hey Jack, I'm about to tell you to do something. You're gonna go, are you kidding me? But you might turn back around and go back east on 136 and kind of follow this, you know, because you're kind of in it there, and this is either gonna kind of maintain itself, strengthen or weaken. But I would just kind of stay along this because this is kind of the leading edge here of some winds that are gonna. They're actually.
Tell you what, I got a road here. I'm gonna do it right here.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
Make a little turn here.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, because I mean, you're
take
essentially
it back.
Yeah, just kind of follow it back a little bit, maybe get back ahead of it there, because between Bellflower and Farmer City, eventually that that whole thing's going to come right there and just kind of ride right along I-74. You might even, when you get back to I-74,
I will say.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say. Can you guys see in my camera here the
grass,
the crops? I can't tell if this is corn or beans in front of me behind the grass, but it's getting pushed down quite a bit. The lightning definitely does light up the sky with that, but yeah, it was getting pretty gusty there, and now it's pretty calm. So yeah, I'm now going east again, back on 136, and we'll do that again.
Yeah, there's some pretty strong winds that are just now coming into the Farmer City area now, and that's going to be just south of you, south and east of your location. Yep. There are some stronger winds there coming in there in the Farmer City area, and you kind of see that on the pink color that is showing up on the radar view that we've got. So yeah, just come back on 136, and you might slip right on I-74 and go back east on 74 there, because it kind of jogs a little bit to the south and east, and kind of see where that little pocket of strong winds goes, because that's definitely the strongest that we've got here right now that's coming into the Farmer City area, and that's what kind of passed over you here in the last 5 to 10 minutes or so. So we'll keep checking back with you there on your shot. Got a lot of lightning strikes there, and what we're going to do is Jacob is going to talk about some of the power outages that we have had here so far. You've got an updated map, and there are certain areas that have definitely seen more than others.
Yep, that's right, Kevin. Our area hasn't had a whole lot. The number for the statewide total as of last check here moments ago was 20,000 outages. A vast majority of those are from, say, Galesburg, Monmouth areas down through Fulton County and Tazewell County. That storm seemed to weaken as it came to our area, and we're thankful for that. We'd like just some nice rain to help things out around here, and yes, we get some lightning. Things are going to look green this week. There still, though, have been some sporadic power outages. A couple of outages reported in Champaign County, Douglas County, even Edgar County here. The highest number we have in our area is in Clark County, over 500 customers out of power out there. Most of it seems to be in the rural areas and not necessarily in any urban areas. I don't have any other information about where those are, just know that it's the electric co-op, not Ameren, that's reporting that. We do have a few outages in Montgomery County. Also, still had some outages in Sangamon County and Morgan County, though it seems like we've been able to take care of that. I think the Loami area from that earlier storm was able to have, I think the highest number I saw was about 600 customers earlier. I think there's still some customers out there, and so we'll watch and see what happens. So far, things have been trending okay here in our area. This is that update for the severe thunderstorm watch. It continues for the same counties, and it goes until 4 a.m. That's going to be an hour and 5 minutes from now, and we'll see if they need to expand it, if they drop it and give us a break here, whatever they decide to do. We'll keep you updated on social, on the WCIA weather app and whatnot. So there's still an opportunity here. It seems like maybe things are waning a bit, but as we start to see this line surge a little bit, that still means we're not out of the woods. And there's still going to be plenty of lightning and thunder with some of the instability values that are there. The latest alerts, the severe thunderstorm warning for Edgar County has been dropped. McLean County, and that one also is about to be dropped here. And so we're going to watch that. Still have those flash flood warnings for Clark, Edgar, Douglas, Coles counties, and dealing with some flood watches in Indiana. So we've got a number of alerts out there. If you're not sure what you're under, and you're never sure, if you're not sure what you're under at any point, the WCIA weather app does keep you updated with that here across the region. It's a great app to have in central Illinois. Let's check some of our storm reports. This only looks in our area, and this technically is the last 24 hours. Oh, we have that first storm that brought some wind from Jacksonville and Springfield. We will add some more with some of these wind reports that have just came out of Bloomington and in Pontiac. And we've gotten some small limbs that are down, so we'll fill in some more here. It's dark, it's late, not many folks are out and about. They'll find some damage tomorrow and maybe add to this a little bit, especially with some of those power outages down here. I imagine there's probably some tree damage somewhere in Clark County and maybe some power line damage as well. A lot of those reports tend to be just outside of the area. And if I show you the regional map, I don't have that with me available, but it seemed like from Galesburg, parts of Knox County, down towards Fulton County, through Canton, Cuba area, down into the Morton area and parts of Tazewell County near Tremont, had some really strong winds whip on through there. And so we still have a chance, Kevin. We're watching things, keeping an eye on it. We've got some storms that are still trying to form and move in different directions and bring thunder and lightning. And folks, tonight, we're staying here with you up tonight just because we think there's still the chance for some of these stronger storms. So far, it's not really been in our area. It's been darn close. But we still have a window of opportunity. We got a window of opportunity for severe weather through the weekend, too. So continue to watch things, Kevin. We got that radar there. We've got the storm tracker out, right, Kevin?
Yep.
We do. Updated.
We do. And so what we're going to do here is we've got no more warnings that are in effect here right now. We're going to, right at the top of the hour at 3 o'clock, we'll send it back to our regular programming there, reassess some things here for us, take a look at some of the latest. And what we're going to do is we're going to dump out of our TV coverage. We are going to keep the stream going. Actually, we're going to just put up our storm tracker that Jack Gerfin is out in and let you guys kind of watch his stream because, I mean, he's got some pretty good pictures out there because he's still in the middle of those storms. And we're just going to take a little bit of a pause here and reassess some things and know if any other warnings come out. And I do think that there are probably going to be a few more warnings that get issued here. But right now, we don't have any of those warnings in effect. We've got some winds that just came through the Farmer City area. There's some winds coming down in the Mount Pulaski and the Latham areas there as well. And I'll just kind of show you that here on the radar. You can kind of see right here, and we'll switch back over to our velocity. You can see kind of some of the pink colors there. You got a few of those pink colors here into the Farmer City area. And so you've got some little pockets, some very small pockets where you might have some stronger winds. But what we've got here are storms that are continuing to develop. And we're starting to get some more development now down here towards Decatur and now down into southern portions of Piatt County. But and that's going to be the interesting thing that we're going to wait and kind of see here is what's going to happen on this kind of southern end of our viewing area that hasn't seen a whole lot yet. Shelbyville and Sullivan and Taylorville and things like that. So we'll see what happens to these storms as they kind of move in to that general area. So here's the thing. We're going to keep streaming online, okay? We're going to still be on our Facebook. We're going to be on our Twitter. We're going to be on the WCIA3 weather app. What you're going to see is going to be that view over there, Jack's storm tracker view on the vehicle there. We'll come back if there's any other warnings, and we'll reassess things. We'll keep you up to date. Again, you can jump on there online as well. So we'll see you on the website, Facebook, and the weather app for more.